I'm Dennis Aseto, and this is International Roundups. We start from Mali in Africa, where the Malian government has told of France that it's good riddance if its citizens left the country. This after the French government sent shocking news to its citizens to leave the Mali. Why exactly? Take a look.
Par rapport à ce sujet concernant la situation de France actuelle, l'appel vraiment de ces populations pour aller chez eux.
This subject regarding France's call for its nationals to leave, I think it is simply to sow panic among Malians. I think this is a call mainly aimed at causing panic. In Mali, we are not afraid. We will support any transition that improves our living conditions. Even if there is only one Malian left, we will fight for the cause to the end. We will fight to win this war.
Nous allons les soutenir jusqu'à la fin. Même si ça restera qu'un seul Malien, on va lutter jusqu'au bout pour avoir vraiment cette lutte en victoire.
I don't see a problem if the collaboration is favorable to Mali. France can withdraw. Our wish is for them to leave. We don't like France. Let them go home.
In Sudan, widespread destruction could be seen. This following fierce battle between RSF and the Sudanese army. This continues to be a painful part of the African continent as many continue to be killed in the Sudan.
بنت الفجر هسه الحمد لله غالي من كل المصيبه ومن كل الحروبات هنا هسه موجودين بالحمد لله في داخل مدينة الفجر وفي حي
Now we are in the city of Al-Fasher. Thank God, it is now free of wars and calamities. We are now in the Al-Bashuk neighborhood and west of Al-Nafasha market. The RSF provided us with full support. They gave food to everyone, including children, women and the elderly and the sick. We are now in complete bliss. During the past 2 or 3 years, we were struggling to sleep, eat and drink. But we became better over the past few days, and we appreciate the rapid support forces who check on us daily.
ولا قادرين ناكل سمح ولا نشرب سمح لكن الحمد لله هسه بوجود الحسه في خلال 5 أيام ولا 6 أيام 7 أيام ده أسبوع ده الحمد لله إنه البلد الحمد لله نشكروه كثير الناس قدام صار الحمد لله يوميا بيجوا يفقدوا حالنا.
In Cameroon, and the opposition leader Issa Chimora has given 48 hours to the Cameroonian president, Mr. Biya, who was recently coronated and sworn in as the president of Cameroon. Why exactly? Because the Cameroonian government arrested its citizens who were protesting against what many call sham elections.
I take the floor in my capacity as a president-elect of Cameroon. I want to launch a wake-up call to the world in general, in particular the nation which have based their very existence on democracy and human rights protection. I want to bring to their knowledge that for the first time in the history of our nation, all Cameroonians have their back today against the war, confronted with a life-threatening menace coming from this unlawful, dictatorial, state-based terrorism, state-based gangsterism against the people. They have been arresting out of any lawful, legal procedure. They have jailed hundreds and thousands of Cameroonians, deprived of their right, not because they did something, because this dictatorial regime have decided to operate ethnic cleansing, political cleansing, regional cleansing. This situation is unbearable, unacceptable. I said in my capacity as a president-elect of this nation. I also want to bring to your knowledge the fact that all Cameroon knows it. The world in general knows it, that President Biya has never been elected by Cameroonian people. But during the swearing-in procedure, President Biya put his hand on the Bible to ask God to be the witness of his election. This is sacrilege. This is profanation. I just want to call your attention to the fact that he uses God just to fulfill his ugly purpose. I launch an ultimatum. I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours to liberate all of those who, out of law, unlawfully, you have arrested and jailed. Failing to doing it, Cameroonians will find themselves in a legitimate defense and free to undertake whatever will enable them to recover their freedom and to free their daughters and sons who are illegally imprisoned, jailed somewhere. This is the message I want to share. Cameroonian pass if 48 hours, as I said, they refuse to comply. Cameroonians, they are in legitimate position to defend themselves, to defend their family, and to go retrieve their daughters and sons who are unlawfully and illegally have been arrested and jailed.
And in the Congo Democratic Republic of Congo, armed forces have accused M23 of disrespecting the ceasefire that had stopped fighting for a little bit. But now fighting is back in the Congo.
Despite the demand for a cessation of hostilities imposed by the international community, which is fully committed through the United States of America and Qatar to the return of lasting peace to the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the AFC M23 terrorist coalition supported by Rwanda has been stepping up attacks on the ground for several days. The armed forces of the DRC denounced these clear and intentional violations of the commitments entered into as part of the Washington and Doha peace processes.
Dans le cadre des processus de paix de Washington et de Doha. Ces dernières 72 heures.
Still in Africa, and many Africans are coming back home. And with that, Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré is saying that the continent is fighting for dignity of its people. The reason why Ouagadougou is open to welcome citizens coming back home.
No one can tell our story better than we can. For a long time, they were the ones who said what they wanted about Africa. They were the ones who said what they wanted about the black man. Now it's time to say no to that and tell it like it is. And I encourage you to pursue this project, which we will support. We are fighting for Africa. We are fighting for the black man. We are fighting for the dignity of Africa, fighting for the well-being of our people, just as they fight for the dignity and well-being of their own. We too have something in our hearts. We stand wholeheartedly with all peoples who fight for justice, for equality, for well-being. And we are friends to all peoples who respect us and who respect our sovereignty and our dignity.
Notre souveraineté et notre dignité. C'est un cauchemar pour certains. Mais pourtant, l'Afrique est en train de se réveiller et l'Afrique va se réveiller.
Some will say it is impossible for Africa to catch up, to awaken. They told us the same when we sought to take charge of our own destiny, that it was impossible to do what we wanted. Others discouraged us. They always cited examples of African heroes they had killed, telling us that those heroes tried but failed, to make us believe that our struggle was in vain. But we have said, impossible is not African.
Nous leur dirons que l'Afrique est un continent d'espoir, est un continent combatif, et l'Afrique est un continent d'avenir. Et nous allons nous battre pour cela. D'aucuns diront que c'est impossible pour l'Afrique de rattraper le retard, de se réveiller. On nous l'a dit.
Our grandparents, our ancestors suffered greatly. There is no people in the world that have endured what Africans have endured. No people can claim to have survived after all the ordeals that black people have gone through. Colonization, slavery, the Arab-Muslim conquest. Here in Africa, we have known every form of humiliation, every kind of attempt to exterminate us. They sought to erase the black gene, because it was the brave youth they always killed and deported. Thus, the African is the most resilient being in the history of humanity.
Il n'y a pas ce peuple au monde qui a souffert comme les Africains. Aucun peuple ne peut prétendre pouvoir survivre après toutes les épreuves que les Noirs ont subies. On se rappelle que ce soit les colonisations, l'esclavage, les conquêtes arabo-musulmanes ici, les Africains ont connu toutes sortes d'humiliations, toutes sortes de traitements qui visent à nous exterminer. Ils ont voulu faire disparaître le gène du noir, parce que c'était les jeunes braves qu'ils ont toujours pris, tués et déportés. Donc, l'Africain est le plus résistant de l'histoire de l'humanité.
You see, migration continues to be part and parcel of everyday humankind life. But off the coast of Malaysia, 6 bodies have been recovered in what is believed to be from a boat that was ferrying migrants into Malaysia. Take a look. In Brazil, a disaster has hit. A tornado hit a city in Brazil, and with that, 6 have been confirmed dead and hundreds others injured. Take a look. The ceasefire between Israel and Gaza continue to hold. But even while at it, 38 bodies that have been repatriated from Israel have been buried by the Hamas group. Why this? Because they were destroyed to a point that they would not be recognized. Take a look.
Today, 38 martyrs from the nation's martyrs who were martyred on October 7, 2023 will be buried. All identification efforts failed for these martyrs. They were held at Nasser Hospital morgue for 7 days without successful identification due to the severity of the torture they were subjected to, as their facial features were completely obliterated.
Hadar Goldin is a name of an officer from Israel who has been missing since 2014. But this officer is now dead. His body has been repatriated back to Israel by the Hamas group. still in the Middle East, and there is something called catch-up vaccination. The Hamas group is moving forward in ensuring that its children who had not been vaccinated for the years during the war finally get that all-important vaccination.
نحن في جمعية الهلال الأحمر الفلسطيني بالشراكة مع يونيسيف ومنظمة الصحة العالمية.
Through collaboration between the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, UNICEF, the World Health Organization, the UN and the Palestinian Ministry of Health, we have established the necessary conditions to launch a national childhood campaign. It targets children who missed vaccination during Gaza's two-year conflict, covering all vaccine types for ages 1 month to 15 years. The campaign will run for 9 months through the 3 consecutive phases, each beginning with 10 intensive vaccination days. The final phases will also conclude by a 10-day drive, continuing until the situation stabilizes in Gaza and all Palestinian children can access vaccines.
مهيئ جاهز لكل الأطفال الفلسطينيين. فترة الانقطاع هذه طبعا أثرت على صحة الأطفال الذين لم يتلقوا هذه التطعيمات. طبعا
The disruptions of vaccinations in recent years has significantly impacted children's health, with rising infectious and viral diseases posing serious risks to the lives and the community, especially as these diseases spread rapidly without protective immunity. This campaign protects children from dangerous viral and infectious diseases that threaten their lives. Vaccination became urgently needed, with approximately 45,000 children in Gaza having missed routine vaccinations.
الذين لم يتلقوا هذه التطعيمات. في غزة تقريبا حوالي 45,000 طفل لم يتلقى هذه التطعيمات.
We were surprised to learn about the vaccination campaign at the Red Crescent Hospital and came immediately. Our child's health has noticeably improved post-vaccination, with doctors providing essential care instructions and proper medical attention. Vaccination is crucial. We have suffered tremendous losses with widespread diseases recently. Now, through these vaccinations and God's will, children are developing stronger immunity.
The Russia-Ukraine war continues to ravage on, and with this comes the 20th sanctions by the EU. President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he is working with the European Union in making sure that these sanctions come in sooner and not later.
We are putting pressure so that it is felt by Russia, so that they suffer losses, so that it is politically felt. In today's decrees, sanctions on political figures, Russian government officials who work for the occupation, propagandists of various kinds who justify Putin, who try to normalize the war and normalize the occupation are imposed. We are also sanctioning collaborators and anyone who works for the Russian war machine. There have been many attempts by Russia to lie to the world about what is happening. There were many attempts to disrupt the processes with the United States and Europe. I have my own reaction to everything. We are preparing our sanctions together with our partners in the European Union. This is the 20th package of sanctions, and we expect to have the contents of this package ready within a month, and we propose to add Russian legal entities and individuals who still make money from the energy resources to the EU sanctions package. There are the countries of Northern Europe. We are also preparing agreements with Southern Europe countries. And it is very important from a political point of view that this geographical balanced support of Ukrainians is the support of our country in Europe.
Саме така географічна збалансована підтримка українців, підтримка нашої держави в Європі.
As discussions on COP30 continue, the Forever Fund for Forests has been launched by Brazilian President Lula da Silva. And with this, it is all about protecting nature and the environment.
Pelas próximas 2 semanas, Belém será a capital do mundo. governadores, prefeitos, parlamentares.
Over the next 2 weeks, Belém will be the capital of the world. Governors, mayors, parliamentarians, scientists and civil society organizations will take part in this great collective effort in favor of the planet. Bringing COP to the heart of the Amazon was an arduous but necessary task. The Amazon is not an abstract entity. Those who only see the forest from above are unaware of what happens beneath its shade. And I wanted to tell you that holding the COP here is a great challenge, as ending pollution on planet Earth. It would have been easier to hold it in a developed city, in a city without problems. But we decided to accept the challenge of hosting the COP in the Amazon region, to demonstrate that when there is political will, determination and commitment to truth, human beings prove that nothing is impossible for them. What is impossible is lacking the courage to face challenges. Demonstrating that if the men who wage war were here at this COP, they would realize that it is far cheaper to invest $1.3 trillion to solve the climate crisis than to spend $2.7 trillion waging war, as they did last year.
O impossível é a gente não ter coragem de enfrentar desafios.
And Senator Bernie Sanders has called out his Democrats in the Senate for deciding to vote to restore order despite not getting a deal on matters to do with healthcare.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we are already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night.
You see, the world on a daily basis continues to have conversations. It's all about news, international news, and how everything on the global space continues to have a bearing on your day-to-day activities. Dennis Assetto in partnership with Viori, only on KTN.